area.
Was Doug planning on coming?
In this
Haven't
area.
heard from him.
Okay.
No, it's the flat roof area.
Gotcha.
Their tennis courts in pretty good shape.
Yeah, because they had problems with that a couple of years ago.
They got taken care of.
Okay, good.
Yeah.
Well, then that's,
Yeah, the roof's been well, between the roof and the ventilation system for
I
the
like how you phrase that, my boss.
expensive to maintain. Hanging in there, we're doing pretty well from.
What, she did get a new job?
Yeah, my wife did, yeah. She's going back to LGH, so.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
Like the one right here, or I guess not, LGH is down, right?
We don't know yet where if it's gonna be downtown or if it's gonna be at the health campus, so I
Oh,
think she'll figure that out in the next couple of weeks, so.
Jeff is taking.
hopefully it's just right there, the health campus.
Well, yeah, we're right there,
It's
so.
2 minutes away.
Does this still go by LGH or is it Penn now?
Yeah, I mean, I guess locally, everybody still just calls it LGH, but yeah, it's
Revenue
Penn Medicine is the overarching health system, so.
That'll look at.
All right, I'm gonna go ahead and call the meeting to order and we see Doug. First order of business going to the standing committee reports. We'll get right into the Verizon cell phone tower. So Dan, I don't know if you have an update or anything you wanted to share, but the floor is yours.
Yeah, I don't have any update on my end but as far as the last that I spoke with Cindy. It was just, I think the red tape stuff was good, but just trying to figure out the zoning,
Still working through the permit process.
permit and zoning.
They're a
Yeah.
little slow on getting materials to the zoning is almost done, but the stormwater still has some things outstanding. That haven't been submitted.
And I believe, Dan, you said it was already staked out. Have they started? They can't do anything, I'm assuming, until the permit is,
No, but it is staked out.
yeah,
Also, the drive is staked out.
okay.
We had some action at our meeting, didn't we? We approved something at the last meeting?
We approved 2 rights away,
That's
one
right.
for PPL and one for Verizon.
Right.
Okay. And at this point, ball's out of our court as far as doing anything to help move it along the process, so, okay.
Just, and then, then just one other thing as far as the committee's concerned. It's just Dan and Doug. Since we've got Bob on the board now, maybe we should think about putting him over there. Just a suggestion.
Okay.
Give him something to do, keep an eye on.
Yeah. I'd be open for discussion for that.
You're saying putting him on a lease negotiation and real estate committee?
Yes.
Yeah, the more the merrier. I'm okay with it. I mean, right now, we don't have anything to do, but I'd assume once rezoning is done, we will have something to move forward with.
Activity would pick up.
Yeah. Yeah, the more the merrier. I'm okay with that.
So I
I
would,
would be okay with that. But
Bob, you have any thoughts on that?
no, I'm happy to do it.
Okay. So I'd entertain a motion to add Bob Krimmel to the lease negotiating and real estate committee.
So moved.
And
second.
all in favor of adding Bob to the lease negotiating and real estate committee, please say aye.
Aye.
Anyone opposed?
Who was the motion?
Me.
John, Tom, okay, thank you.
Approved. Thank you, Bob.
You're welcome.
We'll move down to rezoning. Any update there from the committee as far as where they're at? Anything we can do to,
It's probably
Assist.
gonna be on the new, the board's agenda in June.
okay,
We should have the county comments like the second week in May.
okay. Have we gotten any feedback on that or it's not public information at the moment?
It was announced at the public meeting, but no, there's no comments,
Okay,
just an acknowledgement, really.
okay. Any questions, discussion on that? I will move down to the Finance and Operations Committee. We are due to meet to discuss the email that Cindy had sent out as far as the barn pro shop future plans, but I'd like to open it up for discussion now as far as if the broader committee has any items or anything that they wanted to discuss about that.
Well, I'll mention that John and I and Cindy and Diane met with people from Blue Collar last week, just to bring them up to speed about our thoughts about what we were gonna be doing as far as looking to do, some type of expansion of facilities to generate additional revenue. And we talked about what they would want to have as far as, they'd like to think about possibly having a reduced size deck. And there was some discussion as to whether or not that the authority would build a deck, and then the lease payments would be adjusted accordingly. They talked about a couple of issues as far as how they'd like to facilitate being able to get stuff out of their kitchen more quickly, and perhaps have another entrance on the other side of the building. All in all, I thought it was pretty productive meeting. I don't know if John or Cindy want to add anything.
Yeah, I think they covered the couple leaks that are still in existence after the repairs were done. Did roof repairs?
Yeah, they did mention that there were some issues with some leaks in the roof that they brought to our attention, and
Blue Collar brought that to your, okay,
Huh?
so I thought the leaks were in the pro shop.
well, there's some leaks.
Both.
There were a couple leaks in their kitchen. And they mentioned
Ah.
some other places where they had seen some leaks in the banquet rooms.
We thought we
So-
got them all, but apparently not. So they're still chasing them down.
So the roof over the banquet and restaurant, I thought that was somewhat newer though.
It is. It's a flat roof,
Yeah.
but so if a little pinhole, that's all you need, and
Okay,
there it goes.
gotcha.
Well, okay, well, that's all good to hear from a blue collar standpoint. What about the pro shop? Anything new there? Have you had any discussion with Muha about moving the,
Yeah. There was some discussion held as far as what they thought, might happen with if the barn gets torn down to the ground, basically move the pro shop elsewhere. And then there was some discussion about what to do with a snack bar as well, but that's gonna have to be evaluated when we decide if we're gonna proceed with, at some point, the demolition of the hut, so. They seem very open to some suggestions.
but
They were quite frank, though, when we talked about the snack bar. The snack bar is a loss leader. They can't make any money at it. They'd be happy to get rid of it. They're trying to keep it open as best they can, but it's just economically it's not feasible for them most days.
So I guess my thought was, if you get rid of the barn and the pro shop, was the thought that the pro shop would be kind of put in the same places where it is now, but you just have a newer facility? Also, is there room kind of where the barn is to add the maintenance facility, and then you kind of have both of them there, or is?
When we approached Joe Muhal, and he's on, no, he's not.
He was, I think.
When we approached Joe Muhal, he indicated that his preference would be the southern sides, either side of the 50-acre tract of land at Church and Knoll. Those would be his preferred areas. He didn't think Tarpley would work. Not quite sure. Well, he said it was going to be busy with the basins coming in and everything else going on there. Not sure about that. He would not favor putting it where one plan suggested, which was beside the banquet facility on the
Okay,
upper side.
yeah,
The lower side, I don't know that you want your maintenance building so close to your pro shop and banquet area.
yeah, I would agree. So the plot of land, is that the sod farm?
Yes,
And would that, because we have that whole HYA project going there as well, so we'd have to carve something out from that
you
to,
would.
okay,
A maintenance facility is required for that 50-acre tract to maintain it. So could that be turned into both golf course and that facility?
'Cause I-
Possibly.
And Tom, I don't know if all those things have been shaken out yet, but I would assume golf course has pretty good equipment for cutting grass. And there'd probably be some type of agreement between the two there that we could service that as well.
well, that would be I think,
Ideal.
the best plan long-term. We've got equipment there. Rather than our public works people truck it or
Sure.
hiring someone else. I'm sure we could hopefully set up some type of an agreement with Joe, that he could cut the grass. So, and then the maintenance building going there. I mean, if that's gonna work for Joe, that's fine. I mean, that'll be his, it should be sort of their decision, where, where they want to move the maintenance building to. And I think over there would be as good as any. I'm sure we could carve out a spot there, for it. Sort of getting back to the pro shop side of this and to your question. We talked a little bit at the last meeting about maybe raising the existing structure that's there now. Going to maybe a trailer temporarily, or the snack bar temporarily. We do have some space adjacent to the snack bar that was used for storage, where we could possibly put in a couple of facilities for a locker room, not anything grand or big or large, but you sort of make that work, that whole thing work there. I think what we've got to determine is whether or not, I mean, right now, the snack bar is part of the blue collar lease. Okay. We got to determine whether they are going to operate something there, or whether they want to abandon it. I guess that's what I'd like to hear from them, that they would abandon that spot on the property, and with no impact on the lease. So I think there needs to be some discussion about that with them. And after we raise the barn, I mean, maybe we don't put anything there. Maybe we just, dress it up, make it look nice, have a nice entryway there to the golf course, and move things in that direction. Maybe save some money there. And maybe possibly the snack bar could turn into the permanent pro shop. I mean, who knows? I don't know what Jim needs. I think we could make all of that work, but I think the big issues are, for sort of moving ahead on many fronts. What are we going to do with the work area at the golf course? Where's that going to relocate to? What would that look like? How much time would it take? How much would it cost? And then, sort of at the same time, look at the whole pro shop thing. The first step being, what does blue collar want to do, if anything, with the snack bar?
Okay.
Blue Collar did say when we were talking about the snack bar that they have improved and expanded what they offer in the pro shop in terms of food available. They now have wrapped hot dogs and I think sandwiches
Okay.
that Jim sells for them.
Jim sells it for them in the current snack bar,
No, in the pro shop,
the pro shop. Okay.
which is should be another factor when you renegotiate the lease, that there shouldn't be any impact.
Right. Yeah, I mean, I would think they'd be okay. I mean, and I would also, if necessary, we could maybe even compensate them a little bit, because I know they spent some money fixing that up down there. So just, another angle to look at as maybe an incentive for them to turn that space back to us for use.
So if I'm thinking about this long term, if we wanted to, so the thought is to completely get rid of the barn and the pro shop, like that would be leveled, and then we would potentially use that land for either nothing or to maybe put a new pro shop or not. as far as like a proposal, remind me what the process is for that. That's not prevailing wage because as a rec authority, we get around that.
Don't,
It is prevailing wage.
yes. And
So-
building.
And that's not something that, you know, any of like there's no township person that can like do that kind of work. Like that has to be, you have to bid that out, right?
It's beyond our capabilities.
Yes, okay. So remind me of the process of that, if we wanted to do that and potentially build a new one or potentially just repurpose the snack bar.
Well, I think-
What would that look like?
Well, I think the overall, you need to define what you want as terms of when you're finished. What's your scope? What are you gonna, what do you want it to look like?
Yeah,
And then you're gonna have to go after dollars. The likely, and given the volume, is probably a RACB grant. To get a RACB grant, you need to hire someone. They're going to develop the grant, but they're gonna need a scope of work
okay.
to develop that grant.
Well, the other thing is, I hear, we all have good ideas, but you have to realize how that place is put together. You're gonna need some drawings, you're gonna need architecture,
Mhm.
because it's gonna go, with state approvals. You're gonna have to hire a professional to do this. You can do big picture it, but when you get down to the details, and of course, if you have to bid it, you have to have specifications that people can honestly bid on. So we have a long way to go.
Yeah.
And, you do need what they call soft money, like the people that are going to try for the RecB grant. You need the architects or the engineer who's going to do it. Because there's going to be certain utilities that need to be moved or capped there. And it's very complicated. It's just not, you're taking a raw
bulldozer
piece of
to-
ground and working from there.
Yeah,
And electrical stuff, of course. There was refrigeration in that back room. It's going to require some, professionals to figure that out. The square footage might be there. And there's 2 levels in that back room.
mhm,
If you ever walk back there, when you walk in the door, it's one level, then where the storage was on the lower level.
mhm.
That might be, once you do all the utility work and capped or removed or relocated, you might have to level that out or demo the high section. I mean, I don't know, but it's going to take time and it's going to take, drawings and things like that to do it right, to get your approvals.
Yeah. And remind me, when we got the new HVAC system installed, is there a unit on top of the pro shop?
No.
Or was there anything on the barn, or was it all on the banquet facility?
The work we did was all in the banquet part.
Was it? Okay. I didn't know if any of that's
Well-
spread into the other building, because,
The barn has units in the upstairs or attic or whatever, yeah. Cause when we were looking to fit out that for simulators, when we walked through there, it was like, what, there were at least 3 units in there, maybe 2. Yeah, ductwork laying on the floor,
yeah,
around the rafters, yeah.
Uh, I mean, I agree with what you're saying. It's, it's gotta be professionally done at the end of the day. But I think we need a starting point. What would you say the starting point is? Knowing that I think we want to move in that direction of eventually there's something new from the ground up, or, and again, I don't know, but would the snack bar be large enough and modifications to the storage room beside there, would that be possible?
Yeah, you have to have someone come in and ballpark that at
Right.
least.
Right,
Because even to go for the RACB grant, the state's going to want to see, what are you going to spend the money on? They can't just use a placemat type of drawing. They're going to need something more sophisticated than that.
so I
We have a
think,
5 or 6 year window to get this done. We figured we'd start the planning process now. It's gonna take a couple of years. I've already reached out to GMS, which is the agency that we're familiar with. They do RACB grants. I believe Dave has also reached out or is attempting to reach somebody at Ritu. You need a professional. You need someone that understands the process. they will tell you, you have to bring this person in and this person in to do the plans necessary to get this grant.
Okay. That
I
comes
think-
at a cost though.
Absolutely.
Yeah,
Soft cost.
Seed money.
yeah.
And we have that. I mean, we didn't do the parking lot, so there is some dollars there.
Yeah. Okay. Well, I think wait and see once you connect with somebody at either, is it a company or is it a organization or,
Their company is GMS.
okay,
If you Google them, they'll come up.
okay.
And
Well,
they
yeah.
specialize in funding solutions.
I think what we should do is the Finance and Operations Committee, once you have something more solid from them, and then if we can schedule a meeting with them and just, I don't know if we have to take them to the actual building, walk through and just say, this is kind of what we're thinking.
I think at this point, we'd like to get a RACP grant. What do we have to do?
Okay,
Where do we start? This is kind of our concept. Eventually they'll have to see the property, but I would expect that we have a meeting here at in the conference room and just kind of pick their brain.
okay.
How do you do this? What's the process? What's the timetable?
Well, when you get contact with them, I would say we should set up a meeting and then we can, decide what we
Whose
wanna
brain
do
are we
next.
picking? One of the contractors that we pick
No.
or the,
This funding solutions
okay.
people.
gotcha.
more about the process, not necessarily about the project,
Yes,
right?
right.
Yeah, okay.
But can I suggest that we move forward on the front of deciding? I mean, I think we've decided, have we decided on moving the maintenance shed as a group?
Well, yeah, I mean, I think it has to if we're going through a zoning process, right? So why would we go through that process if we're not intending to do something up there or at least have the ability to do something?
Right, and we want to do something as soon as we get the zoning change or begin the process of doing something. So, we've got to have an idea where that's going to go, in my view. And then sort of on the same, at the same time, look at least as either on a short-term basis, using the snack bar as the pro shop. But again, I think I'm not sure we've decided that we're gonna tear down the old one yet.
Yeah, but you have the bathroom facilities, which are heavily used at the turn, and you'd have to have porta potties or something. I mean, you just can't eliminate them. You know what I mean? If you tear it down, not only do you need your pro shop is probably going to conceive of some bathrooms. You might not need showers, but bathrooms and,
That's what I mean.
And we can rent them. There's nice portable ones you can get with,
They look luxurious, actually.
So-
If you go to the US Open at Lancaster, you'll
Yeah,
see them, yeah.
yeah.
Let's, so let's,
Those are a little more expensive than the seed money, I think, though.
yeah, let's talk about the maintenance shed first. I agree with you. I think if we are going to do anything post rezoning, obviously that's would be the, first step is rezoning. Second step would be moving that because that's gonna be, there's gonna be a timeline to actually eliminate that and have the other one built. My guess is with all the investment and the CapEx that we spent on all those machines, you're gonna have to have a maintenance shed in place before you tear the old one down. But my only reservation on moving it right now is I wouldn't want to put something in the sod farm that then makes the HYA project have to pivot around us. I'd rather that be maybe talked about in tandem, where they have their plans on what they're gonna do there. And maybe you guys would know better than I would. I don't know how imminent that project is, like what the timeline is for
So
that.
it's not. The timeline on the park project could take 15 years
Okay.
to complete. And it'll probably take, I mean, I'd like to think we could get some baseball fields in there for next spring, but I don't know. I don't know what that's their call more than anyone else.
So we
They-
have-
They can get the money.
A more immediate need to put the maintenance facility over there.
You know, yeah, I think so. And I think we can also put it in a spot, you know, like maybe back in the corner. You know, and again, I don't know. I don't want to make the decision on it.
Is that something that we could jump to like like an HYA board meeting? Like a couple of us go or the whatever committee
Well,
and talk with them?
I mean, we have a master plan in place for the park. The master plan is subject to change. Everything can change or nothing can change. That's why putting this in there. You know, again, Cindy made the point that, you know, we're gonna need some kind of maintenance facility over there anyway. The baseball, or HYA will need some type of a maintenance facility. Maybe it'll be somehow connected, who knows? But, I would bring the HYA into it, but, again, there's nothing definite about, you know, what we're doing over there right now, so we can sort of, anything's possible.
Hmm.
Now, I spoke with my nephew Jason Enoch, and he's, I guess, the president of
Mhm.
HYA at this point. And he said their submission goes in August and the awards right before the election. So they won't even know they have money until like, you know, October this year.
Yeah, and again, I'd keep them in the loop, but, you know, we sort of need to be moving forward on this.
Hmm.
Um,
It's not our land, though.
No, you'd have to negotiate with the township.
Yeah.
But you don't have the money to build a maintenance facility. You want that part of your RACP process.
Yeah.
So you can decide on a location, but you need you need that. It's more than seed money.
Yeah.
Once
Okay.
you start that, yeah.
What, did we get an estimate roughly on what a new maintenance was? Was it like 400,000, something like that? For
You're
some
probably
reason,
talking at least 500,000.
for a new maintenance shed?
Yeah, you gotta run all your utilities in, all that
Yeah.
stuff.
I could probably get pricing on the building itself
It really.
does that
it's-
matter?
It doesn't. I mean,
to give us an idea.
it depends on what your scope. I mean, you're talking major renovations to the snack bar, major renovations to the back end, bathroom facilities. If we decide to help blue collar out and build that deck, that's also part of it. Maybe we add to the RACB grant, preparing the slab in the front for some sort of facility, which will help attract more people. That it's already got utilities run into it. There's all sorts of things that can go into the scope for the RACB grant, but you want to get it all in at once.
What's the size of the grants? Like,
They're in the millions.
really?
Yeah, the HYA is 2.5 million.
But they're only for 30% of the cost. If I
No,
read that-
RACBs are
if
higher
I-
than that, if
if I
not
read the-
100%.
If I read the thing, the blurb I sent you right, that's what it said. The maximum grant's 30% of the cost.
No, you can get more than that.
Hmm?
You can get more than 30%.
Yeah, I think they're 100%. I don't think there's any match.
I must,
But all that would be discussed with this
Consult.
funding solutions.
Yeah.
And it doesn't have to be them that you hire, but you can at least pick their brain. And then maybe get a couple in. They don't like doing RFPs with municipalities for whatever reason. They don't like competing against each other.
Okay.
But we could have individual conversations with them and pick several of their brains.
So the process then would be, we think of, our wish list of things to do out
Exactly.
of the property, and then submit that, whether or not we get the grant or what the amount is, then we, if we get it, but it's a lower amount, then you tick off some of the things that you obviously can't afford at that point.
Right.
Okay.
You get your wish list, you get a funding solution, you narrow it down by doing some general design work, some cost estimating. The grant gets submitted and see what happens.
Okay. And are they paid out like in a lump sum, or do they give it out over, like a 10-year period where you,
The grant,
yeah,
not 10 years, they're typically 3.
okay,
So you want to have your ducks in a row. Once you get awarded, that you go.
got it. Okay.
It's sort of like the park plan, but I'm sure the HYA used, the master plan is their
Mhm.
sort of,
They did.
guide for for their grant.
Okay,
Just gotta have something on paper, something you can show. Doesn't need to be fine tuned, but, you know,
comprehensive to some degree. Okay. So I don't think we have an action to take right now, other than we're just going to explore this with GMS or,
As soon as I get feedback, I'll get a meeting scheduled for the committee.
okay.
I stand corrected on my statement. I read the thing wrong. Basically, the reimbursement is limited to 30% of the cost if you acquire any any land or equipment. That's what's limited is 30%.
Okay. And we wouldn't need to go to the township at this point with anything about the sod farm because we don't
You don't know.
have the money to do anything. So, okay.
And we know that they're not really building anything out there right now. so-
Yeah. Okay. Any other questions for the Finance and Operations Committee? Oh, budget to actual reports for March. Do we have any comments or feedback on that? If everybody took a look?
on the Recreation Authority budget to actual. Is this for the first quarter, first 3 months?
Yes. Well,
78.
the first column would be March, the second column would be the first 3 months.
First 3 months, okay. Have anything?
So year to date, we're negative. If I'm just looking at the bottom line here.
I think that gets skewed because we have January, February, March in there.
Yeah,
I think that's, we'll start overcoming that at some point, but
with Korea.
Yeah, your revenues aren't anything.
Yeah, yeah.
I think
seasonally
that
low.
we're only that little in the red or whatever below is good.
That's why you need the starting cash balance
Yeah,
to start the year.
I was just trying to see on here if there was any like large expense that caused that. Other than just winter at a golf course. Okay. Anyone else have any questions, comments about the reports provided? I will move down to the cash requirements. Any questions on any of the cash requirements listed? I'm just looking through this to see. We didn't have any large equipment costs on any of these, right?
Just our lease, I guess. Right?
Yeah,
And we had golf, big
chemicals.
chemicals, yeah. That was the large one.
Yeah, Joe buys those in
For
end
this,
of year and then we pay for them beginning of the year.
yeah. Okay. I'll give everybody a second just to look. And I will ask for a motion to approve the cash requirements.
I'll make the motion.
Second.
All in favor of approving the cash requirements, please say aye.
Aye.
Anyone opposed? Approved. Golf operations update. Jim, you have any comments? Anything going on in the golf course worth knowing about?
No, nothing to update on. We're just doing the normal things, getting ready for the season.
How did the course do that week where we had all the rain? Was two or didn't we have an issue when we had a lot of rain a couple years ago on like the second hole, or maybe it was the 11th hole?
Yeah, we got close to the water level coming up and then creating a pond on number 2. But it quickly went down, so it's in good shape. The course is in awesome shape.
Good.
And his revenues for the year to date
Yep.
are 82,000.
Outstanding.
Last year, this time was 54. That's pretty impressive.
Yep.
I mean, the weather has a lot to do with that, but
And no snow.
yeah.
Any questions for Jim?
Nope.
Goals, objectives for the golf course. I think primarily we went through some of this with the grant, but I'll open it up if anybody has anything they want to add or discuss as far as goals or objectives for the golf course. I think the only thing I was thinking about was if we go to a smaller pro shop like that, and I don't really know the size difference, but or how much it would be affected, but merchandise sales, if you move the pro shop into the snack bar, might cause that like a slight dip in revenue depending on where most of the pro shop sales are coming from. But I think we're a little ways off before we have to really get into the weeds about something like that. But just something I thought of during our discussion.
I think you can survive in that spot though. I mean, think about cross gates.
Yeah, that's
That's
true.
not very big at all, right? Overlook doesn't have a very big one. Just
I'd like to ask Jim what his thoughts are if the pro shop size was reduced. Do you think there would be a real significant dip in revenue?
No, that wouldn't have any impact. The space we use now is not the full space of the area anyway.
Thank you.
Thanks, Jim.
Yep.
Anyone else? Questions, comments? I'll move down to new business, nothing listed. Anybody has any new business? Minutes of the previous meeting. I'll have to abstain, but I would entertain a motion to adopt the minutes from the previous meeting.
So moved.
I'll second.
All in favor of adopting the minutes from February 28th, please say aye.
Aye.
Anyone opposed? Minutes are approved. Is there any public comment? Right, I will make a motion to adjourn the meeting.
Just one
Yeah.
more thing.
Go ahead.
Anything new on the pizza oven at the golf course?
They're working on them and it's enclosed. The ovens are sitting there when we were over to kind of take a look. I don't know when they're gonna open them.
So it is gonna happen?
Oh, yeah. Yeah,
Are they gonna use another space?
they have enclosed a portion of the small banquet room
Okay.
to house the ovens
So it's gonna
and
be,
knocked a door into the kitchen.
They're not using the old one that was there. Wasn't there a pizza oven that was there that didn't work?
Yes.
okay, so that's.
And they're putting in the HUD system and everything to accommodate those ovens.
Cindy, do you remember when we met with them, when they thought the date the oven would be operational?
I can't remember what he said, no.
Didn't he say hopefully by the end of May? I can't remember. John,
Possible.
do you remember?
Who's that again?
Huh?
when they thought the ovens were gonna be operational.
I don't know, they were in there installing, so I don't know if I have a date.
I had dinner there tonight and they're advertising it coming soon.
Yeah.
Any other comments? Okay. I'll make the motion to adjourn the meeting.
Second.
All in favor of adjourning, please say aye.
Aye.
Anyone opposed? Meeting is adjourned.
Thank you.
Thank you.